Good morning, beautiful people. It is Friday. Good Friday. Feel good Friday. April 10th. Day X of the COVID-19 quarantine. And also the tail end of a 24-hour treadmill challenge to the home for the dome. Fun run from our friend Tone Diggs, who is currently, I believe, 38 miles into his trek. Diggs, is it 38 miles you've accomplished here in this whole entire thing?
Currently 37.8, very close to 38.
Okay, so anybody that knows this show knows that Tone Diggs is a man who has once said numerous things. He's got a lot of quit in him, but he also says he doesn't want to be average. If that's below average, he's completely okay with that. Or above average, that's okay as well. Never wants to be right at average. Whenever he opened his big fat mouth in his terms and said that he could walk 48 miles in 24 hours after learning about David Kilgore going 100 miles in 24 hours, we had to say bet. Then we obviously put a monetary bonus on the line so we could really get Diggs to dig down deep and find all that intuition inside of his gut to know that he has to pay for a wedding and other things at the time. Kind of take advantage of that moment to make sure that he did this. We move a treadmill in, and he started off. We thought there was a chance he wouldn't make it past mile 2. We thought there wasn't a chance he'd make it past mile 5. Then the son of a bitch got past mile 10. Then he got past mile 20. And in the early hours of this morning, our guy made it to 35 miles, which was officially putting him into a new payday. He's at 37.8. If he gets to 40, all his money will double. Therefore, he's making $8,000. Then he's making potentially $9,000. Then he's making potentially $10,000. And if he really, really starts putting one foot in front of the other, knowing that he's engaged, knowing that he's married, about to get married, knowing that he's potentially about to put a family together on this earth, Indiana Diggs could potentially make $12,000 if he walks 60 miles.
Wow.
Will Diggs do that in these last 3 hours? Will Diggs throttle down, make that thing go flat, and really just start putting one foot in front of the other? We'll keep up with him. Also, in the second hour, we have Chase Daniel, formerly of the Saints and the Bears, now Detroit Lion quarterback. Can't wait to chat with him about everything happening in Detroit. Jalen Rose, noted Detroit sports team fan. Yeah, that works.
Yep.
Said that if he was the GM of the Detroit Lions, he'd take Tua and ditch Matty Stafford, basically. We'll ask Chase Daniel about all that potential conversation, why he went to the Lions, what he was told by Patricia when he got to the Lions. Are they going to maybe win a game or two for the Lions fans who have been sitting around miserable for their entire time? Can't wait to chat about that. Also, Jameis Winston and David Carr got into a beef, and 100% hate David Carr, so I'm going to go ahead and dive into that one. I'm blocked by David Carr on Twitter, so I couldn't even see what was happening. People were tweeting me, look at what Jameis and David Carr do. Look what Jameis and David Carr do. And I couldn't get to the top of it because it said viewers content is whatever. It was like I got blocked by David Carr years ago. So I hate David Carr. I'm on Jameis Winston's side. But I do potentially agree with David Carr that some of these workouts should not be being viewed by the public. Speaking of public viewing, Tua's pro day has been leaked. His pro day at Alabama, some video footage has been leaked in a thread by Chris Mortensen. He looks damn good, just like he's looked on his Instagram videos, just like he looked whenever he was playing at Alabama before he got hurt. Now, a lot of conversation about his surgeries, 2 of them for sprained ankles that you didn't necessarily need surgery, but he got surgery to get back sooner. Will Tua get drafted high in this draft, or will his stock plummet like Laramie Tunsil's when a video came out of him hitting a gas mask? Evan Foxy, let's kick this Feel Good Friday off. And we're going to get to a lot of phone calls today because, to be honest, we're about sick of talking about the same stuff on a very regular occasion. The phones didn't work yesterday. They work today. Other than Chase Daniel, we want to hear from you. 1-833-622-3331. Evan Foxy, please play some Chase Rice.
It's the perfect occasion for a little vacation from the heart of the nation. Not your medication. 2 hours of magic. Let's give it a go. Ladies and gents, it's the Pat McAfee Show. It's the Pat McAfee Show. It's the Pat McAfee Show.
You're damn right. Oh, he just had an incompletion. You're damn right it is. Chase Rice, I appreciate you. This is the Pat McAfee Show, Friday, April 10th. I'm being joined by some of the boys here. 2 of the boys in this room really have put on a hell of a show in the last 21 hours. Not at Nick Morotto, not at Ty Schmidt, not Jason McAfee, not Evan Foxy. But Azito production has been on full force during this Twitch stream of Tone Diggs walking on the treadmill. It was trending on Twitch this morning. There's wires all over our office that will remain there until Zito has to do another production. But Zito, I think your big brain and your tech, just
minimal knowledge.
No. I was going to say advancements in technology have really been put on display here. You've done a great job at Viva Zito.
I'm going to be honest with you. I thought the stream would have cut out like 11 hours.
Yeah, we all did, to be honest with you. And if you saw the way it was rigged up, you would have thought it didn't work for, 10 minutes or so. But here we are, 21 hours into this thing, and it's still going strong. And that's because not only does Zito physically wear many hats, he does. He wears the Ford brand hat. He's got the Cuban Zed hats. He's got an entire line. But in this office, he wears a lot of hats. And I don't think he ever gets enough credit for it by anybody because everybody calls him Stooge. Some people call him Big Fat Stooge.
Oh, come on, Nick.
Nick called him a Cuban Fat Stooge. Nick says.
Unbelievable.
That's what people say. But Zito, I want to let you know, you've been a MVP in this entire thing.
That means a lot.
I hope the people that are in the comment section understand you're a real VIP.
I see people saying Big Fat Stooge.
No, that's Nick. That's Nick.
BFS. BFS.
Nick, get off.
BTS. BTS. BTS.
Big time Stooge?
Speaking of those, another man who had an incredible performance. Last night, this guy, there's been a couple challenges where we've helped out our guy Tone Diggs to gain mileage, whether it was a trivia thing. You can hear that on the pod today. He went 7 out of 10 and gained 7/10 of a mile. His 3 wrong answers, we inclined his treadmill 3 because of the wrong answers. There always has to be a risk and a reward. Connor Campbell, a man that we all know as a big-time stooge. Last night, late night, about 10:30 at night, I said, Connor, how fast do you think you can run a mile right now? He goes, 8 minutes or something like that, or 8:30.
8:30, yeah.
I said, do you think you get 7:45? He goes, 8:15. And I go, 7:45? He goes, 8. I go, 7:45? He goes, okay, we'll do 7:45. The agreement was if he could run a mile in under 7:45, we would give Diggs a mile, another mile. So that's how this office works, by the way. Everybody's pulling for each other. Now, granted, myself, Nick, Ty, Boxy, we all kind of got inebriated on our own devices. We kind of did our own thing. But Connor was there, and Connor was ready. He said, I'll do it. I said, all right, Connor, 7 minutes and 45 seconds, we'll give Diggs a mile. You get under 7:15, we'll give Diggs a mile and a half. If you get under 7-minute mile, which none of us thought was possible, we'll give Diggs 2 more miles. This is at 10:30, 11 o'clock last night. You got 10 hours into Diggs' walk. He was struggling. I mean, Diggs was in a bad spot. Took a break. So Connor says, I'll do it. Stretches his back just a little bit. The son of a bitch ran a 7-minute and 7-second mile, gave Diggs an extra mile and a half, and now he's really feeling himself dressed up like a complete stooge.
I don't think I'm a complete. Whoa! What's going on? I ran a 7-minute mile. Who's the big fat stooge now? Who's the big fat stooge now? You, not me, you.
Mike sounds better.
That's the best shirt that he has. That one that he just ripped. The best shirt. He walked in here today, and I think he thought that it was a joke, but he had a button down on and a vest.
You look great.
Everybody's like, damn, Connor, here we go. I'm sorry we made fun of you so much, but now you're running miles at great paces. Maybe that was the turn. Maybe we thought he grew up. And he goes, no, it's just a joke. And then he gets in here and just rips this thing off for a Superman jersey with a polo underneath it. Honestly, Connor, if I were you, I'd be feeling myself immensely too. There's no way a body that's built that way is supposed to run a 7-minute mile. And you did it. And that immediately puked all over a lot of Zito's wires and stuff. But it was an impressive thing. I'm proud of you.
Hey, I appreciate that. I mean, I'm just glad it's on film because that is the last mile I will ever run for my entire life. So I can just watch it and reminisce now.
So it's not like you did that and you're like, maybe I could do this. Like, maybe this is something I should get into. I'm 24 years old. I used to be an athlete. I'm not that far out of my I'm kind of hitting my prime here in the next couple of years. Wow. Maybe I get into running a little bit. Maybe physical fitness is something I try out every once in a while. I just ran a 7-minute mile. That's not easy to accomplish. No. And I did it fresh off of the couch after eating everything in sight for a little bit. Yeah, you're not thinking that.
No, not at all. I just wanted to get out there, do that for all the big fat stooges out there that think that they can't run a minute or a mile under 7 minutes. Let me just let you know, you can, but you will throw up and have a headache for 48 hours.
What an inspiring guy. What an inspiring guy. Connor, I was very impressed. I mean, I was very, very impressed. Very impressed. And I think Diggs was very thankful. Diggs got an extra mile and a half. Diggs also won 8 for 10 from the free throw line to add another 8/10 or whatever to his mileage. I mean, Diggs has really been putting on a show here. Diggs, how we feeling, pal? And what do you have to say about Connor getting out there, risking his entire life and puking all over our office last night?
Honestly, I think what Connor did is much more impressive than what I'm doing.
No.
I mean, you said it last night. He's a bumblebee with that body and those wings. He should not have been able to do what he did last night.
I agree. And then the whole world got a chance to see that body just a little bit more when he took his shirt off and puked. And it was a lot of people are saying the potential worst image they've ever seen on the internet. And that is quite a mean thing to say, but more than one person has said that, Diggs.
Yeah, and then the free throws was basically after I finished the marathon, and I was in a bad spot, and I can only think that it was a situation where it's like the kid is trapped under a car and the dad gets dad strength because he knows it has to be done to sink the free throws.
Well, it was the best shooting I've ever seen from you. Maybe you should warm up with a marathon every time we play basketball in here. It was absolutely incredible. Let's talk about some stuff. Diggs, keep it going, pal. Are you at 38 miles yet? Yeah?
Yeah, 38.2.
Proud of you, man.
Thank you. Appreciate it. You guys couldn't have done it without you.
Go, Diggs, go.
Well, you wouldn't have had to do it without us.
True, but still, you get it.
Go, Diggs, go. Go, Diggs, go.
His inspiration.
Entire nation.
Got we grip power. In the
All right. A couple notable things. Joe Burrow went on Shaq's podcast, and he said a couple things about the upcoming draft and where he might end up at. Okay, so Joe Burrow, Ohio kid. We all heard it. We all know the story. At the Heisman presentation, when he won the Heisman, he gave a, hey, this is for the kids from my area who, not a lot of money, not a lot of hope, not a lot of promise. You can make it. That, in turn, led to a food drive that over $500,000. I mean, it was just like Joe Burrow is the Ohio kid who's done right. Much like A.J. Hawk and Nick Mangold. These Ohio, Kirk Herbstreit. You go through it. These Ohio people who, represent Ohio and go take over the world. Joe Burrow is a beautiful case. He's smoking cigars. He's got swagger. He's winning national championships. He's winning Heisman, doing good for his community. Joe Burrow seems like the perfect number one pick for a team that was trying to win last year and just couldn't do it with the Cincinnati Bengals. Cincinnati Bengals have obviously been plagued with bad PR. They are a team that has been stuck in the 80s for a long time, both physically and mentally. Now, they won some games there for a while. They made the playoffs. They did that, but they never could really get going, and nobody would ever really take them serious, mostly because they're a team that doesn't have an indoor facility. That's just something that is real. And then you obviously hear about old players that retire, and I'm not saying that I don't absolutely love the Bengals fan base, because I do. I love the Bengals fan base. Massive amounts of love for Cincinnati. We did a show in Cincinnati. The place was insane. It was wild. People were blacked out drunk before the show even started. I mean, we love Cincinnati and their fan base. We just think their team hasn't been showing them enough love for the last, 3 decades.
Yeah, that's fair.
So with the number one pick and a chance of bringing a guy named Joe Burrow to be the face of your franchise, it just seems like this is a home run pick for the fans and for the Bengals. But then rumors started coming out. Rumors started surfacing. And they were like, is Joe Burrow going to pull Eli Manning or John Elway? Who? Is Joe Burrow going to say, nah, not doing it? Nah, not doing it. He's working with Jordan Palmer. Jordan Palmer's brother is Carson Palmer. Carson Palmer threatened to retire if he ever had to play another game for the Cincinnati Bengals. He went on to have 2 more careers at 2 different places after that, was willing to quit, so there's a lot of things that started adding up, and everybody was like, does Joe Burrow not want to be a Cincinnati Bengal? Then Joe Burrow at the combine said, hey, I'm a football player. I'm going to play for whoever drafts me or whatever. And then this Shaq cast comes out, and Joe Burrow says, I just want to get drafted to a good team. Okay, well, that's not going to happen, Joe, because you're the number one pick in the draft. Okay? The reason why they're the number one pick in the draft is because that team stinks. Good organization that is going to maximize my talents. Okay? I've won everywhere that I've been. I've never had a losing season in sports from the moment I was 5 years old. I'm not a loser. I just want to go somewhere where I can win. Teams are picking at the top for a reason. I feel like I said before, I've won everywhere that I've been. I feel like if anybody can do it, I can do it. All right. So I'm not 100% sure what that entire quote means, but I would assume that a lot of people, just like us, because there's nothing else to talk about, are going to take those first couple sentences and say, he doesn't want to play for the Bengals because the Bengals stink. And I don't think that's fair to the Bengals because there was a time not long ago where the Bengals would win 10 games in a row, 9 games in a row. The Red Rocket would shoot out there and start slinging the ball all over the yard. Pac-Man and Perfect and the boys on the defense were not only hellraisers and headhunters, but they were actually playing good football for a while. They could just never get over the hump. Marvin Lewis was gone. That entire team's basically gone. Andy Dalton gets benched on his birthday, can't get traded to play another quarterback I never heard of. He stinks. The coach, Zach Taylor, had a cup of coffee with Sean McVay. He's a head coach. He might stink. We don't know how he is as a head coach. And now Joe Burrow's talking about, I just want to go to a good team that has a good organization that will take advantage of my talents. And I think what he's saying there is, somebody trade with the Cincinnati Bengals. Somebody get up to number 1 and get me. And there's a lot of conversation that the Miami Dolphins are thinking about potentially doing that. More than one person, more than 2 people, more than 3 people have said the Miami Dolphins love Joe Burrow. And if you love Joe Burrow and you have the draft capital to do so, and you're the Miami Dolphins, do you not make the move to go get the damn kid, and then you let Cincinnati fall back to number 5, where Herbert will probably be, or maybe even Tua? So now the Bengals still get a quarterback. If they want Andy Dalton to still be the starter, somebody kind of learn under there, build for the future, and pick up more picks because you're giving up the number 1 overall. So you're going to accrue a lot of picks giving up the number 1 pick. Maybe that's the right move for the Bengals. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm excited to see how this all works out with Joe Burrow via the Zoom or the FaceTime and him taking a hat, throwing it at the camera, and hanging up. I think this could be potentially be fireworks.
Do you think the Bengals are perceiving that as a shot at them, or do you think they have little to no self-awareness to where they're like, oh, well, great, then we're in great position to get him because we have all the tools for him to be able to come and win here?
You think the Bengals read that quote and they're like, oh, he wants to come here?
Yeah, exactly. Maybe.
We don't know. Honestly, we don't know. I can't. I say the same thing so much about them.
How does it even work with Burrow? Does he let them know before the draft, like in a text, like, hey, I don't want you guys to draft me, so you should trade the pick? Or does he get drafted by the Bengals and then tell them, hey, I'm not playing for you guys, so you're going to have to trade me somewhere else?
By the way, it's Red Rifle, not Red Rocket. Joe Burrow has no say in the matter.
Okay.
And which is kind of interesting. All these interviews and things that Joe Burrow is saying means nothing. Absolutely nothing. If old Brown doesn't want to make the move or trade, which, by the way, he is not big into, there's nothing Joe Burrow can do. He can draft him and just hold his rights forever. He literally can just hold his rights. And there's nothing Joe Burrow can do. So I think what Joe Burrow is potentially trying to do is he has to do these interviews. By the way, he's the number 1 pick in the draft. He has to do these interviews. He's trying to say all the right things. Like, hey, I'm a winner. I'm not a loser. I just want to go somewhere and win. Take a play. And we have to break him down for what he's saying. I don't think Joe Burrow is alluding to anything potentially about not wanting to go to the Bengals. But I think there is a chance that if somebody was to trade up there, I don't think the Joe Burrow camp would be mad about it. I don't think Joe Burrow's team would be like, oh, we're not going to Cincinnati. We're not.
No.
Oh.
I was looking forward to it.
I was going to be Big Pecker Daddy in Cincinnati. Smoke a fatty. Let's go to Luke in Chicago, another football team that stinks.
Oh, come on.
Hey, Pat, how's it going? First-time caller, big fan.
Thanks, man. Big fan of yours, too.
Just wanted to ask you about the Joe Burrow thing. Like, where do these college quarterbacks get off trying to pick and choose where they go in the NFL when, like, there's so many busts?
That is a very good call, actually. Who knows if Joe Burrow is going to be a superstar? And I think that was the interesting thing about Andrew Luck. Andrew Luck knew he was going number 1. And I saw him whenever he was on his visit to the Indianapolis Colts, and he was going to Washington literally the next day. And I was talking to him about his life because we have a West Virginia connection because his dad was the AD and everything like that. So he and we had a connection there whenever he came. And I was talking to him, I was like, so is life just insane for you right now? Like, we're obviously taking you. I mean, everybody knows it. We almost lost all of our games last year. I think a lot of people were hoping we'd get you. He's like, well, I got to go to Washington tomorrow because you never know what's going to happen. I was like, I do. Andrew, I do know what's going to I don't want to be a spoiler here. I think we all do know what's going to You're going to get drafted to the Colts. He was like, well, you never know. You know, like Andrew was trying to be like as super humble as possible, right? And then when Andrew came in, he was like the humility level of Andrew Luck was one that I just wanted to smack him to mouth. I just wanted to be like, Andrew, stop it. Okay, you're smarter than everybody else here. You're more athletic than everybody else here. You're a better quarterback than everybody in the NFL if you want to be. I mean, just stop it. Like, but he was just humble to a T. And that's the type of situation where if you do decide to take a stand and say, I'm not going somewhere, I want to go somewhere else, and you end up being a bust, like Eli Manning's, he wanted to win a couple Super Bowls and had a good career there. But if the end of his career was the beginning of his career after that San Diego to New York thing, oh my.
Yeah.
Now, granted, there wasn't as much social media activity, so nobody would have been able to bury him unless the networks were doing it, which probably wouldn't have happened because the Manning family is tight with everybody because the Manning family is synonymous with the NFL for good reason. But boy, if you, like John Elway, didn't want to go to the Colts, I'm not doing it, I'll go back score or whatever. If he ends up being a bust, Ryan Leaf. Imagine if Ryan Leaf was like, I don't want to go to the Colts, which basically he said he would rather go to San Diego than the Indianapolis Colts, but I don't think he was openly petitioning not to be the number one pick. But if he was out there openly petitioning against being the number one pick, and then he goes and has the career that he had, I don't know if there's ever a comeback story.
Yeah.
I think that you become quite an insufferable individual. So I don't think Joe Burrow is saying that he doesn't want to be a Bengal. I don't think Joe Burrow has said any of that thing. But a lot of the actions around the Joe Burrow camp, it sure feels as if that's potentially an idea that has been floated. I don't think Joe Burrow cares one way or the other, though. He just wants to go and get it.
Yeah, I don't think he would be heartbroken if someone other than the Bengals traded up and drafted him.
Wouldn't it be crazy if he just turned his Zoom off or whatever on draft night when he got drafted to the Bengals? What if he loses connection? Which happens with Zoom, by the way. It happened to Tom Brady on Howard Stern.
Yeah.
It's going to happen.
It's
going to happen to somebody.
What if, like, as soon as they draft Joe, and right before he even smiles or hears about it, he just drops off, the world would explode. The internet would be like, Joe Burrow just hung up because he got drafted to the Bengals. And then all of a sudden, like 2-3 minutes later when they regain connection, they're like, let's go Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow has the Bengals hat on or whatever. And they're like, oh, I just lost connection or whatever. It's like, oh, did you? Oh, did you, Joe? Oh, okay, Joe. Joe knows.
Something hilarious is going to happen. Someone's going to leave their camera off, or they're going to turn their thing on mute, or think they're on mute, and they're going to say something inappropriate. It's going to happen.
Some old white is going to go maybe tear down a toilet in his office, and it's going to be shot on there. Jerry Jones is going to go take a leak or something, and he's going to be, I mean, something's going to happen. You're talking about old school people trying to do something in the most modern of world. Zoom just came into the scene very recently, and I think they're even still trying to work out how it all works out. That Tom Brady, Howard Stern thing, the fact that Howard Stern, by the way, was able to just power through that and still go and get an incredible interview is why Howard Stern is worth $650 million or whatever it is. But that is something that could become quite a problem for some of these olds that aren't used to having to deal with a little bit of adversity in the technology world.
That was literally my old job, was helping doctors use video conferencing software. And doctors, some of the most intelligent, smartest people on earth, went to school for years and years and years, and a lot of them just couldn't figure it out, even the most basic software, just because it's a foreign language to them.
You know, and they say some of those doctors, you know, you can be really smart in the head, but in real life, you're a dumbass.
Yeah. Messy handwriting, too.
The worst.
Yeah. Dr. Myron Roll will probably do all the stuff we need to.
Very intelligent.
Great handwriting.
We got to get to a break. It's already 24 minutes after the hour. I thought today's show was going to suck.
Oh, wow.
We're almost 30 minutes into this.
Zoom.
Zoom, zoom. Ain't I like zoom. Zoom, 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 zoom. When I like zoom. Zoom, 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 zoom. I don't know what this commercial is going to be, but hopefully it tells you something awesome. We'll be back on the other side. This is the Pat McAfee Show. Okay, so I was elected captain a week. We played the Lions up in Detroit, and Vandenbosch was one of the captains for them, and he had red contacts in.
Yeah, that's him.
He had red contacts in, and we walked up to each other, right? And I think I'm with like Mathis and some other people. I don't know. I should not have been there. I was just far left or whatever. I'm just on the far left side of it. And I walk in and we all dap each other up. And then he's there. And I go shake his hands. I look him in the eyes. And I didn't say anything. I just looked him right in the eyes. And he like dapped me up or whatever, gave a fist bump. And I just stared at him for the entire coin toss. Like the ref was talking to whoever was going to talk for us. And I was just looking this guy right in the eyes the whole time. And then as soon as we go to leave, I go, that's wild, man. I just jog off to my side. In those captains' meetings, I've had some incredible electric moments. We played against the Minnesota Vikings, and Adrian Peterson was the captain of Vikings. I was captain of the Colts. There was like 3 other people. We walk out there for this, and the only thing I've heard about Adrian Peterson is how firm. Well, I've heard a lot of things about Adrian Peterson. Those aside. But I've heard that Adrian Peterson's handshake is a firm one. Like Adrian Peterson has a firm handshake. It's like this legendary story. So we go out for the coin toss, and I see him, and I'm like, here we go. And as soon as we go for the handshake, I get in early. I get in because the key to breaking a very stern handshake is you get in early because you got to beat the grip. You got to beat the grip. So he's like kind of casually shaking everybody else's hands. I'm like dapping everybody up like slowly. And I'm like watching him the entire time. And he brings his hand out and I race in to get the netting and your thumb on the thumb. And then I squeeze first, right? So I get like, that's like in arm wrestling when you get the angle on it. So he squeezes back and I give him like a ha-ha, like, right? So while the coin toss is happening, Adrian Peterson looks at me while he's standing on the other side. Neither of us were speaking captains. And he goes, after the coin toss, we're doing another one. It was beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful. He goes back. As soon as the coin toss is over, there's another dap up before we run back. And we did this handshake. He got me around too. I'm be honest. And that was my drop hand too. That's like my punt drop hand. I thought it was going to be broken. But I was like, those coin toss things, I don't know how you don't shake hands because it's just an awkward situation where you're forced to shake hands almost. The Bengals as an organization, nothing much has changed since you've left. Nothing much has changed.
Nothing much has changed since Boomer left on the next stage over here in the late 80s.
If you're listening to this show right now, I want you to take a second and look down. When was the last time you shaved your junk?
Huh?
It's
Be honest.
been a while. Don't lie.
Huh?
Let's take a second to thank our sponsor, Manscaped, for holding you accountable to get rid of the funk and shave your junk. Manscaped is the only men's brand dedicated to below-the-waist grooming and hygiene, and is forever changing the grooming game with their Perfect Package 3.0 Essentials Kit, the perfect tools for your family jewels. The Perfect Package 3.0 kit comes with the new and improved Lawnmower 3.0, which is waterproof. It's got a cordless body trimmer and a ton of other liquid formulations to round out your manscaping routine. This third-generation trimmer features a cutting-edge ceramic blade to prevent manscaping accidents. Millions of balls are about to be nick-free thanks to Manscaped's advanced skin-safe technology. And when you purchase the new Perfect Package 3.0 kit at manscaped.com, you get the biggest bang for your buck. Subscribers get a new replacement blade refill for your lawnmower trimmer delivered to your door every 3 months, making sure your trimmer always stays fresh and clean. And for a limited time, subscribers get not one, but 2 free gifts: the Shed Travel Bag and the patented high-performance anti-chafing Manscaped Boxer Brief. This is the perfect package for your
What do we
perfect
have?
package. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code America at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com and use code America. Your partner, your body, and your balls will thank you.
Will you go back a couple paragraphs and read again?
Yeah, sure.
Go ahead.
This third-generation trimmer features a cutting-edge ceramic blade to prevent manscaping accidents. Millions of balls are about to be nick-free thanks to Manscaped's advanced skin-safe
Back
technology.
to the top of that paragraph, please.
Okay. This third-generation trimmer features a cutting-edge ceramic blade to prevent manscaping accidents. Millions!
Millions! Thank you. Okay, that's good. That's all I wanted.
There it is.
I was sitting over here just waiting to
I was
explode.
gonna do it, but I figured just power through the read.
Hey, let's get this over with.
the
Everybody
headline.
gets it. By the way, if you've been listening or watching our show and you haven't got the third generation lawnmower 3.0 thing yet, you need to stop. A lot of people asking in the thing, does Pat's brother ever talk? Literally, no. Kid's a mute.
Talk, Jay.
That's real life. By the way, that is real life. That's not just on this show. Jay is not a talker, never has been. There will be sociology studies later in the world examining how my brother and I could have came out of the same birth canal with the same two parents, been very close throughout our entire life, and have been polar opposite individuals with nothing alike other than the fact that I could use his ID when I was 17 years old.
Jay speaks with his beats. All right.
Hey, he does speak with his beats. And he's a tappy son of a bitch. I mean, he is a tappy.
He's always making a new beat back here.
Always. I mean, that was my entire childhood, by the way. Somebody in the YouTube comment section said that CNN ripped off our Myron Roll.
I saw that, but I saw them interviewing him too, so I don't know. I was trying to get to the bottom of it.
Yeah, I assume that he did a lot of interviews.
Yes.
Yeah, he's been hitting the media pretty hard.
Now, granted, a lot of people said that our interview with him was the best interview they'd ever heard with him, which... I mean, every once in a while, you got to put down a stooge face and have a real conversation, which is what I had to do in that convo. The drop of I don't even remember the name of it. Let's go to Andrew in New York. Andrew, what's going on, pal? Are you upstate or in the city?
I am upstate.
What now? What is that all? Is that everything but New York City, upstate New York?
Essentially, Buffalo, Rochester, Syracuse, all those. Yeah, upstate.
Buffalo. You guys all just you guys buy your dildos in bundles so you can throw them at Buffalo Bills games or what?
Of course, tuck them in the belt. You get them locked and loaded. Loosen up them shoulders.
What do you want to talk about, man?
I just wanted to say, first of all, shout out to Tone Diggs, and it is not Tone Diggs anymore. It's not Daytona Diggs. You're talking to Tony Tone Thighs.
Oh, I get it. 'Cause
Treadmill
it's very
tone is
toned.
right there.
Yeah, a lot of crickets there. You had a good start though. That one kind of took a bad turn, but you'll bounce back. I know you'll bounce back. I got a faith in you. Shout out to
All right.
Tony Tone Thighs.
Yeah. Tone thighs.
So, of course. And then why don't they want you to have the Monday night gig?
Okay, not a bad question there, Andrew. You know why? These can't hold me back. They, I don't know, man. I think what happens is whenever people get placed in charge, they make decisions like that they've always wanted to make. Does that make sense? That's why I've always said when the next generation of executives get in there, I would assume that there could potentially be some executives that were fans or are fans currently of, or know exactly who I am and what I am. And whenever they get in charge, they bring those people along. That's why every once in a while you'll see like somebody who is completely irrelevant at this point, but was once massive, get a gig. That's because somebody got in power who was a massive fan of that person was like, if I ever get a chance to do something, I'm going to do this. That's what I think is kind of the way a lot of things work in the world where there's a gatekeeper. Whoever said gatekeeper is, it's their ball game. It's their sandbox. They get to decide who they want to bring in. And normally it's like, who are they fans of? Who do they know a lot about? Who have they always wanted to work with? They finally get in a position of power. Bang, I'm bringing that person with me. I think what we got to do, and I've had to come to this realization because I'm not, now granted, if Herb Street gets that gig with Fowler, I will absolutely, I love Herb Street. I love the way he and Fowler operate. I think he's very talented. But if somebody gets in there that I know I could just run circles around on a microphone, I'm going to be a bit disappointed. I mean, I think everybody is who is potentially wanting that job. But I also have come to a very real understanding when I look in the mirror that, sometimes there's some of these old whites that think I'm a stooge. And I can understand that. When that next generation of executives get in there, though, and they ask us to save ESPN and save the company, I'll be ready to put the Superman kit on just like Connor and do that.
Wait, you want it right now?
No, I don't want. No. 5-10 years from now. 5-10 years from now, we'll need to do that.
Are you sure? I mean,
It's got your number on the back. I don't know.
We got to get to our radio break, but we'll continue at youtube.com/The Pat McAfee Show. 35 minutes after the hour, you're listening to The Pat McAfee Show. Perfect. All right. Now we're clear from the radio. Let's get to some phone calls here at the beautiful youtube.com/The Pat McAfee Show. This YouTube, by the way, has become so much fun for me, man. So much fun. A lot of people told me I should have been on YouTube a long time ago. I agree. I should have been. I focus all my time on the Twitter, 140 characters at a time, then 280. And I built up quite an army on there. I kind of stink on there now, to be honest with you, because once you get too big, you can't really be as big of a savage as you once were on Twitter, which is what succeeds on Twitter is being a savage, by the way. So, Twitter has always been my baby, pretty large on there, bigger than most people that you would know, I'd assume. But I never focused on the YouTube. Hindsight, probably should have focused on the YouTube. With that being said, every once in a while, we'd like to dive deep into the YouTube comments, which is considered widely as the most beautiful place on the internet, and do some YouTube questions.
YouTube questions.
Nailed it. Zito, YouTube's been active today, by the way.
Active.
Can't wait to hear the questions. Some other shows go live in their comment section. It's just... is dead as a doornail.
Tumbleweeds in there.
But they have more concurrent viewers than us.
Yeah, it makes no sense. I'm going to try to get to the bottom of it, but I'm just happy we have our guys.
Yeah, our army in this comment section. Yeah. I mean, sometimes they get a bit despicable, but I like that they show up every single day, and that's what it's all
just
about.
Just don't bring up Joe Buck.
No. And that was it. YouTube questions. That's tough. Let's go to Dylan in Pittsburgh. Dylan, what's going on?
YouTube questions.
Hey, Pat, what's going on, boys?
Hey, what's going on down there? What part of Pittsburgh you live in, or?
Oh, we're going good. First off, T's and P's, Toe Diggs on it. Stay at home to the dome, fund one awareness, COVID-19. Treadmill 24-hour walk to make that money. We're rooting for him.
Hey, not bad there. Tone, though, would call you an absolute stooge for just blowing off the question that I asked you, so maybe we could have a little relatable moment there. I was hoping to ask you where you were from in Pittsburgh, so maybe we could chat. Maybe Nick and I went to a party in your town. Maybe we know some of your friends. Maybe we eat at the same restaurants. Maybe the Italian restaurant that I wanted my poker game in high school to get to that college kicking showcase is in your town, and I wanted to talk to you about it. Maybe you and I have encountered each other before, and I just want to talk about it, but you just blew me right off, pal.
I'm sorry about that, Pat, but I am from Penn Trafford, so not too far from your neck of the woods down in Plum.
Hey, PT, no, they used to have a good time over there.
Oh, yeah?
Kids over at PT used to party pretty hard over
They up in the hills, too?
They're east of us, I believe.
Squirrel Hill.
Are they east of us, Nick?
Correct, yeah.
Yeah.
Thought so. Nailed it.
What are you by Penn Hills?
No.
Squirrel Hill.
No, you're going the wrong way.
Turtle Creek.
No, still going the wrong way.
I don't know which way I'm going, actually.
Well, you're actually going west. You actually there for
You're trying Z.
There for a little bit. You were actually going perfectly.
Was that really?
Yeah. And then you obviously changed. Yeah, but what do you want to talk about, brother?
So I do want to kind of talk about Pittsburgh. First off, with the recent news, the UPMC researchers finding the possible vaccine, that's huge news itself. But then also, you talked about it, saw Big Ben working out for the first time in an off season, probably in his whole life. Do you think it's a good and safe investment to bet my entire senior year of college tuition on Steelers winning number 7 this year?
Absolutely. Lock it in, Dylan. Bet everything you have on that. Anytime you got a quarterback that's as good as Ben Roethlisberger and he works out for the first time in the history of his off seasons, you hammer that. I mean, let alone the fact that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are really good and the San Francisco 49ers are all the way back and the Chiefs are all the way back and Lamar Jackson's in your division. I think, Dylan, you need to take every single bank account that you have and maybe even your parents have and empty that on the Pittsburgh Steelers. Diggs, do you agree with that? You're the biggest Steelers fan I know.
Listen, Ben working out in the offseason only means that number 7's coming to town. And that's all I have to say about that.
Are you guys excited to have Ebron on the team?
No, I don't. Yeah, he's a big weapon, great red zone target, yep. Foxy. And, if there's one thing that Pittsburgh does, it builds hand strength.
You better hope so. Yeah. He just quit on the Colts, didn't he? That's kind of the story, is that he just quit on it. I don't know it personally. I met Ebron, good guy to me. But the fallout of him and the Colts was an interesting one. Dylan, don't do that. Don't bet on it. Don't do it, Dylan. Penn Trafford, good people over there. Don't do it. I am excited for the Steelers to be back, though. Not that Duck Hodges didn't have him back, but I'm excited for the Steelers to potentially make a run. All right, we have to act like we're not doing anything for 15 seconds so the radio people don't think they missed anything.
Oh, I thought we were live.
No, we're about to be. Did Phil just put somebody on suspension in the YouTube comments? Timed out by PMS Store for 300 seconds.
Sure sounds like it. Tony Dudley got it.
Phil has 45 kids. He knows all about a good timeout session. Tony Dudley just ate one like little Bella would. One of his daughters. Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show here Friday, April 10th. We'll be joined by Chase Daniel in about 50 minutes. Can't wait to talk to him about being a legendary Detroit Lions quarterback. I mean, he was once with the Saints. He was once with the Bears. Now he's a Detroit Lion. Can't wait to hear the expectations for them and their team this upcoming season and also their fan base. Let's talk about Jameis Winston and David Carr for a second here. David Carr, brother of Derek Carr, was a quarterback in the NFL, and he stunk. He threw the max amount of touchdowns he threw, I think, was 16 in 1 year. The most amount of interceptions he threw was like 13 or something like that. His QBR was trash, and I think he got sacked 76 times.
79 times his rookie year.
Yeah, so, I mean, David Carr obviously was never in a great situation. I think that's what those sack numbers can tell you and things like that. But he gets onto television, and just like some of these guys, they forget how bad they were, and they forget how hard it is to play in the NFL. I think that's something that when you watch players talk on TV, I think they forget about how hard it is to make it to the NFL and how hard it is to be productive in the NFL. Because there's a lot of people who have a miscalculation on their potential clout or reputation as football players. And I think David Carr is one of those guys who doesn't have a lot of self-awareness on how he's thought about as his playing career. Now, David Carr blocked me on Twitter, so I'm not 100% sure how the Jameis Winston beef started. I tried to look into it. He blocked me because on NFL Network, he buried punters and kickers or something along those lines. Talked about how we don't go to meetings and we don't watch film and just the classic meathead, whatever. And I don't have a problem with people in the NFL burying punters and kickers because they can. I do have a problem with little nerd stooges who have never played in the NFL who can try to bury punters and kickers when I would slap them in the mouth. That's just something that so I don't have a problem with players doing it. I have a problem with people that aren't. But whenever David Carr does it, I just quickly check my resume and then quickly check his resume, and I'm like, this dude should not be talking like this about anybody. He should have a little bit more self-awareness. So I went ahead and I screenshotted a stat line of his, and I assume it was one of him being bad. And underneath the tweet of him burying punters and kickers, I just simply put that picture, and then I said, I bet your teammates wish you watched more film and went to more meetings instead of worrying about the punters and kickers we're doing, right? Not that savage of a remark. No. Not that savage. Just pointing out to the fact that maybe you shouldn't worry about how other people are mowing their lawn. You should worry about the trash-ass grass you got in your front house, okay? That's what you should think about. That's all. He blocked me for that, by the way. So do I think he's a little bit soft? Potentially. Oh, yeah. Could I have won a little bit harder? Definitely. But do I like his brother? I do. So I like Derek Carr. I don't like David Carr. So it's a little bit difficult for me to separate the two. But I didn't even know David Carr existed still on the internet because he blocked me. So I'm like, all right, let's move on. I didn't know he was still on NFL Network because we don't watch NFL Network, to be honest with you, because there isn't really much on to be watched. Now, when they get back, I like Rich Eisen. I like Deion Sanders. I like Stephen White. I like Terrell Davis. I like a lot of people over there. But at the time being, there's really nothing for them to talk about that I can't get somewhere else that I probably respect and like a little bit more. So he said about Jameis Winston's new workout video where he is in a gym and he's dodging this big ass, I think it's a boxing, I don't know what I think you're supposed to punch it for boxing. And it's about the size of a bag of balls. Literally, it looks like a testicle hanging from the ceiling, and he's dodging it, to practice, a little self-awareness. And David Carr quote tweeted it and said, "Stop paying your friends to train you. Get some help. I've been in a lot of collapsing pockets, and never once did I have defenders just flying at my head." Carr capped his message with a crying laughter emoji. So Jameis Winston saw this and was like, wait a minute. If Tom Brady wants to say something about me, that's okay. If Aaron Rodgers wants to say something about me, that's okay. I think Jameis Winston, he was eating W's, maybe a massive self-awareness moment for him. I think he knows that if there was some quarterbacks maybe that are retired or currently playing that wanted to make fun of the different drills that he's doing, I think Jameis Winston would be okay with it, to be honest with you. But whenever he did the same thing I did and Googled David Carr and saw his stats, he was like, wait 1 minute. You, sir, should not be talking the way you were talking to me, the man that threw out for over 5,100 yards last year. Now, granted, 30 interceptions, but 5,100 yards last year. You should shut up. So Jameis Winston responds with, hey, bro, I have nothing but love for you. Reach out to help or mind your business, though. I've been working with my personal trainer since I was 14. We built this from the bottom, and we're still building. Treat others how you want to be treated, bro.
Got his ass.
Wow.
Boom. Jameis Winston murdered him.
Yeah.
Hey, burial.
Body bag.
Get the hearse. Carry David Carr's ass out in it. Maybe take the roof off. Top back on that hearse so everybody can see David Carr's pretty face floating down the Twitter road while he got buried by Jameis Winston.
The beatdown.
Oh, man. Hey, reach out to help or shut up. Hey. I like the Jameis Winston's battling with David Carr because in the end, they're probably going to be remembered for the same exact thing. A lot of potential, didn't do great.
Chucking pick sixes.
I think Jameis is better than David Carr, though. So if I'm Jameis, I am definitely not exactly thrilled that some bum who stinks on television and stunk on the field is calling me out. Take a hike, pal. Maybe you should have had that happen. You wouldn't have got sacked 79 times. David Carr.
Has there ever been like a...
I do hate him. I don't know why.
Yeah, I'm not saying David Carr should be the one to call him out, but I do think he had a point there with that drill.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, there was a clip that Jameis put right below it, too, of some guy coming around the corner swiping at his head. I don't know.
See that?
I don't know.
See that?
How many?
You think the guy he's been working with since 14 doesn't know how to make him evade the pocket a little bit, huh? You think that guy doesn't know?
Yeah.
I don't know. I just think maybe if he wasn't worried so much about that rush, maybe we get those interception numbers down a little bit.
Worried about the rush? What are you talking about? You have to be worried about the rush. It's called pocket presence. Ever heard of it?
Yeah, a lot of guys kind of just feel it out, though. If you watch that, he's looking directly at that.
Oh, so you think
thing.
those guys don't do drills to figure out pocket presence?
Oh, they definitely do. I don't think they do that drill.
Oh, you're talking about the drill that Ben was doing where they were throwing bags at him and he was
go.
just eating them. And
There you go. Look at that. I mean, that's one way to handle it.
There are a lot of drills that they do, obviously, but normally eyes are downfield. That is kind of it's like whenever you're running ladders, they always tell you eyes up or whatever. And it's like, how? Mm-hmm. I always said that every strength and conditioning coach, they would have us do it. And by the way, my icky shuffle, hey.
Oh. Get the ladder.
You know, my icky shuffle is legit. I used to slaughter the icky shuffle. 1 out, 2 in, 1 out, 2 in, 1 out. Mm-hmm. Used to crush it. The only one I could do. Whenever they would make us do like the side hop thing, and they're always like, keep your eyes up. I'm like, well, this thing's about to get slaughtered. And lo and behold, 3 things in, wham, it's crushed. But quarterbacks, everything's like, keep your eyes downfield or whatever. So you would think Jameis not keeping his eyes downfield would be a problem, but he's not on a team.
Yeah.
Nope.
The XFL won't be able to get him. You think he's going to the Steelers?
I don't. Unless he comes very cheaply at the beginning of the season, and he need like a desperation type move. But they seem to be content where they're at.
What was that word?
Content.
I don't think you're allowed to say that. The way you said that the first time.
Content.
You took a pause there at a syllable.
I was thinking comfortable, content. We went with content.
Yeah, I get it. Let's go. Well, but you said you'll play that back and you'll hear what we're all thinking you potentially said.
We should probably dump it.
These Rams will punt, you said. Let's go to Grant in Dallas. What was that, Con?
Whoa.
Hey, Superman runs 7-minute mile. Now you want to drop punt out there? Hey, Grant, what's going on?
Stunt, maybe?
Hey, Pat, how's it hanging? Just wanted to give a shout-out to my boy Boston Connor for running that 7-minute, 7-second mile yesterday. That was something.
Thank you, sir.
You're very welcome, sir. I just wanted to talk about how much of a stooge Bill O'Brien is for getting rid of DeAndre Hopkins and replacing him with a much worse prospect in Brandon Cooks. What's up with that?
Great question. Great comment. Billy O'Stooge does it again. And, we've been a very anti-Bill O'Brien show for a long time. And last night after this decision was made where he's going to end up paying Brandon Cooks more money than what he would have paid DeAndre Hopkins, and he basically gave up DeAndre Hopkins for Randall Cobb, Brandon Cooks, David Johnson, in a 4th-round draft pick is basically what it is. But if you're the head coach and the GM of a team and you hate a guy, you're trying to get rid of him however you can, right? And that's what Bill O'Brien did. Bill O'Brien obviously did not like DeAndre Hopkins being on his team. He had control. He was the head coach. I'm going to get rid of this guy however I can. I'll bring in more weapons that we need. He brought in Randall Cobb, who can be very good if he's healthy. Very, very good. He was great for the Cowboys. He was obviously incredible for the Packers. You're bringing Brandon Cooks, who has an injury problem, but has big money contracts everywhere he goes. He gets traded a lot. I don't know why. I don't know if it's because he's not liked. It doesn't sound like that's the case. It always seems like it's a business decision. And the Rams, they were robbing Peter to pay Paul. They're in a bad spot. I mean, we'll get into that in the next hour. They're in a very bad spot. But now you get David Johnson as well. I think Bill O'Brien just wanted him out of there, gets his new crew in. He has Deshaun Watson, who everybody knows is going to be good. I think he's just trying to revamp and rebuild with the people he wants in there. But what happens if he hates Randall Cobb? What happens if he hates Brandon Cooks? Did he have Brandon Cooks in New England? No, he wasn't up there.
No. He was at Houston by then.
What if he hates Brandon Cooks? What if these are all potential things that could happen, but I think what we do know is he did not like DeAndre Hopkins and was willing to do whatever to get him out of there. It wasn't cash. It wasn't a move. It was nothing like that. It was just strictly to get DeAndre Hopkins out of there. Nuke goes to Arizona. Hopefully Kyler and Cliff Kingsbury can, make some magic with him and Fitz. And now Houston Texans has a whole new team of weapons, and they have no OTAs to learn the offense. I mean, this is just a bad situation for the Texans. But if Bill O'Brien wins here, he's going to look like a genius in about 6 months.
Yeah, I mean, there's everyone who is familiar with this situation has that take now, right? It's just like, hey, Bill O'Brien just hated this guy and wanted to get rid of him. Like, he can say whatever he wants and try to, cloud people's judgment, but he just couldn't stand DeAndre Hopkins.
A lot of people are calling what I did the Thicky Shuffle. I respect that. Let these thighs eat. Bill O'Brien hated DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah. Yep.
That's exactly what it was. There's nothing else to say. How do I get this guy the hell out of the building? I don't care if we get robbed. I want to rebuild. I like this guy, I like this guy, I like this guy. Give me a 4th rounder. I don't care. Get him the hell out of here. Now they have Laramie Tunsil in the line, Randall Cobb, Brandon Cooks, David Johnson, Deshaun Watson,
Will Fuller,
in a defense that has J.J. Watt coming back, hopefully. Everybody obviously hopes that that's the case every single year with J.J. Watt.
Still got Lamar Miller, right?
Made the playoffs. Lamar Miller. I mean, maybe the Houston Texans figure it out. But if they don't, Bill O'Brien's gone. He knows it, even though he's the boss. I don't know who fires who there. Maybe the McNair family. But he knows that if they lose in this particular case, he's gone. He just want to go all in with his people, and I kind of respect it, even though he looks like a big old Billy O. Stooge at the moment.
Well, and it's weird that he would die on the hill of hey, we DeAndre Hopkins wanted a new contract. He wanted a bunch of money. We just can't do that. And then you just turn around 3 days later and just pay a guy who's not as good more.
What's this guy? He's worth $17 million a year for the next 5 years.
Yep, do it.
Yeah, sign him. What's his name? Is it DeAndre Hopkins? No. Yep, sign him.
How many baby mamas does he have?
Is he going to bring his family around? Yeah. Or is he going to be away from his family for 6 months straight? I want the guy that hates his family. Bill O'Brien, interesting decisions, that guy. Interesting decisions. Chase Daniel joining us in 36 minutes. Can't wait to chat with him. Got to get to a break. I'm probably going to jump a big old deuce. 1-833-622-3331. Come join our show. We'll see you on the other side. This is the Pat McAfee Show, Friday, April 10th. Let me tell you a little story about these statistics. Troy Polamalu, okay? Fucking Troy Polamalu. So we had a fake for the Pittsburgh Steelers that was a 100%er. We didn't even have a cancel the goddamn play because it was a 100%er. If we ever end up in this situation, inside the 7-yard line on the left hash, it is a 100%er that the C gap will be wide open and we will just part the C to the left. It'll be a touchdown. 100%er. We're playing in Pittsburgh, the city I grew up in. I grew up in Pittsburgh. I won the punt, pass, and kick national championship, AJ. National championship, AJ.
Congrats.
AJ, did you ever win the national championship, punt, pass, and kick?
I think I got 3rd or 4th out of 4 at the Nationals.
I'm proud of you, man. Anyways, so we're there in that stadium, okay? A lot of McAfee's in there. A lot of McAfee's in Pittsburgh. I'm going to score my first fucking touchdown, night game, Sunday Night Football, I believe it was, right here, touchdown. We get into that situation, and I'm like, holy fuck, this is really going to happen. We're like on the 6 on the left hash. It's 4th and goal now. Field goal team's jogging on. I'm like, well, fuck, it's about to, I'm ready. I am ready for this to happen. So I get out there. I get down. Vinny's like happy for me. Vinny's like very excited. He's like, let's fucking go. Like Vinny's excited for me at this moment. I'm like, here we go. So I make the call. I forget what it was. So I start saying it, right? And everybody's looking at me like, okay, bright eyes. Here we go. Let's get after it. Offensive linemen are dead ass tired. They do not want to be in the middle of a field goal anyways. So they're just like, all right, I don't give a fuck if you die here, but this should work. Let's get some points. And all of a sudden, I go through my cadence, I call it, I get down, and Troy Polamalu's fucking ass goes ahead for however long his career was at this point. I think it was like 9 years or 8 years at this point. Not a once has he ever gone to this side of the field over here to the left and stood right in the C gap. Never. He lined up exactly where he had lined in film 100% of the time. And then as soon as I got to like the second cadence right before set, he just bounced his little ass right over to the C gap. And I like stopped everything I was doing and I literally just looked at him. And I gave him like what the fuck are you doing, man? Like, why are you there right now? And then I stood up and said, we are kicking it. We have to kick it. We are kicking this. And then I get down, and Vinatieri kicks it, and I jog off the field, and Chuck Pagano comes running up next to me. He's like, hey, good job. What'd you see? I said, what did I see? Polamalu just fucking went right into the goddamn C gap. What did I see? What did I see? And he goes, okay, sounds good. Good call then. And good call then. And then Vinatieri's like, hey, way to go, buddy. I'm like, way to go? Are we not going to talk about how big of a fucking asshole Troy Polamalu is for what just happened right there? So that's.
I saw the angel of death waiting for me in the C gap.
It's unbelievable. What, you thought I was going to run him over? No way. He's probably going to strip me and score a touchdown the other fucking. That's Polamalu, bro. That ain't just your backyard football with your son. These are professional fucking athletes. He'd probably jump over the lineman, pick me up, and run me into the other fucking end zone if he wanted to. That's what he would have done.
The hard-hitting safety of his generation, too. I mean, Ed Reed, great cover safety. I don't know that you would have feared him, but
Ed Reed, I would have feared Ed Reed. Yeah, if I saw Ed Reed in that C gap, absolutely. E.D. Reed, boy, the best safety you ever seen, boy. I ain't doing shit to Ed Reed.
No, Ed Reed would have made the tackle. I'm saying that Polamalu would have shaved years off your life.
Oh, my God.
Let's get it. Let's go. Dream house is a tour bus. Scream loud that you knew us. Deep down, I'm the new plug. You ain't about to get too dust. Pete's brown when they crew scrubs. Sweet sound from the two subs. Beats loud as a move, bruh. Lead the crowd like, ooh, what? Long hair on the big body. 210s, both sitting shoddy. Crack a bit, start getting rowdy. Blowing nose, looking like an Audi. It's Uncle Sam without the taxes. Crowd stands up, I keep them loud. I made this beat, you hear it smacking? Who is 30? Hand me a nap. You probably wasn't expecting this. Expected what? Expected this?
It's the Pat McAfee Show. It's the Pat McAfee Show. It's the Pat McAfee Show.
You're damn right it is handsome Chase Rice. Joining us in about 30 minutes is another Chase Daniel. He's also handsome and rich and has been a backup quarterback for a long time with the Saints and Bears, and now he's with the Lions. Can't wait to talk to him. I just had to sprint back from the bathroom. The TP shortage, anytime you go in the bathroom, you potentially got to, relieve some weight from you. Make sure you got enough TP in the room. Mm-hmm. I just had to do the old...
wobble to your corner.
Yeah, the wobble over to the other side of the office there. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Thank God that demon meth head wasn't walking by the glass. He would have seen me out there. You know what I mean? The quiver guy.
Unloaded the quiver.
Sporting news. My mom follows sporting news. A notification she got yesterday is Pat McAfee almost killed demon-eyed meth head. So big shout out to sporting news for following along. At Nick Morato's here. At Ty Schmidt is here. Jason McAfee's here. Viva Lazito's here. Evan Foxy is here. And obviously Boston Stooge.
7-minute miles, Stooge.
Is that what the S on your shirt stands for?
Just last night, if you're
Super Stooge?
if you're just joining, the show, we currently have a man who's embarking on a 24-hour quest to see how many miles he can log on a treadmill. He is down to his final hour and 58 minutes. He is currently sitting at 39 miles. Wow. And the reason why this is a big deal, once he hits 40 miles, his money, his jackpot will double. Woo! So if he gets to 40 miles, which I think he's only like 0.2 miles away, he will then enter $8,000, and everything after that will be a big old bank. Diggs, you look miserable. You look disgusting. How are you feeling?
I feel terrible, man. There's butcher knives in the back of my knees, but we're close. We're close, man.
You're really hobbling around right there. I mean, you look like
Sorry about the long-term effects.
The long-term effects?
With my legs.
Who needs them?
Not me.
There was a couple conversations on whether or not he was allowed to get a wheelchair out there or even an office chair that he could strap in and then just hold on and let that thing kind of go underneath. There was a lot of Diggs is Italian, so he was trying to cook ways around this. But Diggs, you are eerily close to a number that nobody thought you would get to. No. You started this venture yesterday at 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Now here we are, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You've logged 39.8 miles on that treadmill. Now, granted, there's an extra mile and a half added because the Super Stooge Boston Connor ran a 7-minute and 7-second mile. That was added. There was some mileage that was added because of your free throw shooting. But at the end of the day, any human that has ever met you in your childhood, and maybe in Pittsburgh, everybody in Plum Borough, everybody thought you would quit. And here you are, just moments away from cracking 40 miles in less than 24 hours. I think you should be very happy with yourself.
Listen, there's no one more surprised than me. Like I was putting the over under 17, 20 miles-ish, and I was going to be very proud with that. But once you get on this thing and you guys are in the background and the chat's going, something just takes over.
Twitch.tv/The Pat McAfee Show. Normally it's Connor and Super Stooge playing video games in a terrible fashion. Now it is currently trending on Twitch, and the comment section is electric. And all Diggs has been doing is walking and talking to the comment section. Mm-hmm. I think he's made some friends in there. He called for negativity yesterday, but I think it's really become his little family, his little community. And to be honest, it's his little support staff in there. Diggs, would you have made it without those commenters?
No, without the commenters, for sure would have made it, just because of the distraction. If there was no distraction, I would have been absolutely screwed.
The thought that you, just maybe months before getting married, maybe, because nobody knows what's going to happen in the world that we live in, could get to 50 miles at this point. You're only 10 miles away. You got 2 hours to do this thing. Yeah. And we'll even extend it maybe an extra 20 minutes if you need it. You have an extra 2. Can you get another 10 miles, or are those legs at the max distance that they could go?
They're at the max distance. There's no chance. I can't go faster than 2 miles an hour. So
where are you at right now?
We are 0.15 away from 40.
Have you stopped this morning at all? Have you stopped? No, you've just gone ever since you got here.
Well, I took 2 pee breaks real quick, but no stopping really.
Oh, so you keep you kept the treadmill on, didn't you?
No, I hit stop. I have pictures to prove it.
Yeah.
Diggs said, I want this to be legitimate. And last night, while he was trying to get to the money, he had to get to 35 miles to make any dollars off of this. And we didn't know if that was going to be possible. Last night, he was at 31 miles. It was late. I think a lot of people wanted to get out of here, potentially go catch a nap. I said, all right, what can we do to give him some more miles? And Diggs said, no, I'd like to earn this one myself. Walked until 1:32 a.m. last night to get 35 miles, took a bath at the house with some Epsom salts, came back this morning, just a bag of bones, dragging himself through the office, walked in here looking like an old professional wrestler, dragging his body around, put on some clothes, and went back to work to get the 40. We're all very proud of you, Tone.
Thank you. Couldn't have done without you guys.
I think you could have.
I don't think so.
I think you could have. We forced you to do it. I mean, that is one thing that you did need us to do. But I think that comment section and your fiance would have been enough motivation to kind of get you to this point, especially because if you get another 0.1 mile, you're getting $8,000, and then every dollar after that and every step is being doubled. I mean, this just has to feel good. You've made it to the glory hole, Diggs. You've made it to the glory hole.
Most impressive thing I've ever done in my life, by far.
By the way, those glory holes, you don't know who's on the other side.
No, you don't.
No, you gotta be careful.
Excuse me?
That sounded like some experience.
Just gotta be careful.
You putting your penis through walls at
Never
gas
first.
stations?
You never put it in first. You always stick something else in first as the test.
Your toe?
Let's go to Kyle down there in Buffalo. Kyle, what's going on? Hey, Buffalo. What's going on, Kyle?
What's going on, guys?
Just hanging out. I have a question for you. How come the Anchor Bar stinks?
That's because they're mainstream. You go find a small town restaurant, that's where you find the real wings.
I agree. They were kind of snobby to me, the Anchor Bar. They're by the way, they created the Buffalo Wild Wing.
The original, correct?
The original, yeah. And they have refused to see the modern advancements in the chicken wing and make any adjustments or any nothing. They have remained with their chicken wing since the beginning, saying, hey, this is the original. This is what a buffalo wing is. And everybody around them is like, maybe that's where it started. But now we offer more meat and more flavor and less burnt and move forward.
Oh, they're the Bengals.
They are the Bengals.
Yes, Anchor Bar is a bunch of stooges.
I like that, Kyle. What do you want to talk about, bub?
So I'm into collegiate wrestling with college and high school, and a lot of the top guys decided to take an Olympic redshirt year this year.
Go Hawks.
And with the NCAA not granting eligibility to winter athletes to give it back the season because they didn't finish, what do you think some of these guys who were redshirting for the Olympics do now that the Olympics been pushed back?
Nah, who cares? No, I'm joking. This is a big deal. By the way, if they're redshirting to represent America, especially in wrestling, I mean, wrestling is the most unforgiving sport out there. There's not a lot of glitz. There's not a lot of glamour. Their conditioning is. I remember we're a soccer team, right? Soccer team runs a lot, but whenever we would get done running, the wrestlers were still running, and they were wearing illegally garbage bags and all this stuff, spitting and the weigh-ins and then the hand-to-hand combat. I mean, it's just wrestling is so tiring, so exhausting, and I think wrestlers would tell you like it's the ultimate test of a man. Though you versus you, who can pin who can make the other person's shoulders be on the mat. I respect the sport. I could never do it, because I like my ears the way they are, and like when running, I'm not scared to say, I'm done. And you can't do that in amateur wrestling. It's going to be interesting how this all works out, because not only colleges and I mean, it's just the Olympic CEO came out this morning and said they're not even 100% sure that the Olympics are going to be next year because they're not certain a vaccine will be available by next year. And if there's no vaccine available, it sounded like the Olympic CEO was like, if there's no vaccine available, we're not going to be able to have the Olympics because you got people traveling from all over the world to this place. It'd be a little bit of a problem. That was a bit alarming this morning, especially on this Feel Good Friday where we're trying to be optimistic. Hey, let's go. The sun's out. Although it's cold as hell in Indiana, that tornado brought in Arctic temperatures in the middle of spring. It's 32 degrees outside. But even though it is the time we're in, COVID-19, quarantine, lockdown, there's a lot of things that are giving us hope for the future. The NFL draft, there's other stuff. Maybe the NFL will be ready by September. The MLB's trying to do this biodome. Now, granted, Dana White got a call from the executives at Disney and said, hey, pal, Everybody else is stopped. You think you're this one-man wrecking crew? You think you're going to go over to tribal grounds? You think you're going to put on a fight? You think you're going to buy an island? Not going to happen. And Dana was like, are you sure? They're like, yeah. And Dana had to do an interview and say, the powers that be told me I wasn't allowed to do it. I want to let you know, though, we are ready to do it as soon as they say it's okay. So I still respect Dana White, by the way. Mm-hmm. Sometimes, every once in a while, you're going to get some big swinging whatever. They're going to try to crack down on all the work that you've done. Dana White put in a lot of work, and I assume Dana was going to try to be as precautious as he possibly could with his fighters so nobody would get sick, nobody would end up dying. It sounded as if this was going to be literally a ref and 2 fighters, couple camera people out in the middle of nowhere, transfer them out, bring in 2 more. It sounded like Dana was going to try to do his absolute best to keep this as safe as possible. Disney, Mickey Mouse, ESPN was like, this is not a good look, and if anything happens, we're going to be bad. Dana has to postpone it. But whenever all these things start happening, you get a little bit of an optimistic feel for the future. And then when that Olympic CEO quote got run across the ticker this morning on ESPN, that was a shot right to the taint. I'm going to be honest. I did not expect to hear the Olympic CEO say that next year, we're not even 100% certain the Olympics are going to be able to go next year because of the fact that we don't know if there's going to be a vaccine yet. That is crazy to me. Then there was a poll, I guess, run by a bunch of smart people who probably only asked other smart people if they would go to a sporting event if there wasn't a vaccine. It said 75% said no. I'm assuming that those smart people didn't ask the people out here in America, because if they were to ask them, they'd be like, yeah, vaccine for what? Is the curve down? As long as we flatten the curve and that thing is all the way down, I'll go right to a sport immediately. I think there's a lot of optimism. And I think after my conversation with Dr. Myron Roll yesterday, I don't think we're anywhere near out of the woods in this whole thing. And that's a reality we're just going to have to accept and continue to move forward with.
Yeah, I just saw a report today. It might have been from like the New York Times or something, but they said that the inland states are really starting to get hit hard now. Like, whereas like they'd kind of been impervious to it before, like now they're getting hammered. And that makes sense with the Olympics. I didn't even think about that, but with the Olympic Village, with how many like asymptomatic carriers
and
there
they
are.
also all bone each other.
Exactly. So that's like how this thing picks back up and spreads back over the world.
What are you doing? Like, I'm heading over to Norway to have sex with every one of them.
Pretty much.
I guess those Olympic villages are just out of control.
Oh yeah, just bowls of condoms.
What are you saying, Zito?
40. Don't hit 40.
Don't hit 40? Attaboy! Done.
Yeah.
$8,000 to the Tone Diggs pocket for a wedding and for life and for your house and for whatever else you're going to spend it on. Nobody thought you would get here. Here we are. Are you quitting with an hour and 46 minutes left of this challenge?
No, I'm not going to quit. A lot of people in the chat had a idea to get to 41.2, so I'm going to try to get to there here in the next
412.
whatever time's left.
Oh, yeah, because Pittsburgh.
Yeah, stand up for Pittsburgh.
Do it for the Berg, Tony.
Do it for the Berg.
You know, there was a big debate on the internet whether or not Pittsburgh was part of the Midwest, and I really enjoyed watching that happen.
When?
Just yesterday. There was somebody drew out a map, and they were like, here's the Midwest, and they had Pittsburgh in it. Here's the East Coast. Here's the South. Here's the Middle East, and, all that stuff. It was the Pittsburgh people were not happy about being classified as Midwestern, so now they made a new map, and Pittsburgh is its own color.
That's the best thing of all time. No, I do not like being classified as Midwest. Technically, we're Mid-Atlantic, but I lean East Coast.
Yeah, but Indiana Diggs is a much better version than Pittsburgh Diggs, and Indiana is clearly a Midwest.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, I mean, they both have their ups and downs.
The up would be Pittsburgh Diggs. No way in hell goes 40 miles on the treadmill. No
absolutely
way.
not.
No way in hell. What are you doing over there? You got some water? Make sure you're chugging some water, pal.
Yeah, I do.
We don't need you to get the old Ramdo.
No. Thank you guys so much. This is awesome.
Oh, you're at the delirious stage. Yeah, he didn't sleep much last night. Very tired. You guys can say whatever you want to Diggs right now. I think he's in a very lovey-dovey mood. Zito, would you like to share anything with Diggs that you've always wanted to tell him, maybe waiting for this moment?
Hey, Tony, what do you think about my feet?
I love them. You're the best seat.
Flip it. That's awesome. Flip it. Connor, you got anything to ask?
Yeah, Tony, you owe me $150.
That's true. I do.
I like this, Tony.
Hey, this is the best Diggs. We need you to walk 40 miles. Not only does your basketball game get better, you make money, and it seems like you're just are down for whatever. Here's a text from the NFLPA. NFLPA tips, happy Friday. Here's the quote. Don't take your health for granted. Don't take your body for granted. Do something today that communicates to your body that you desire to care for it. Tomorrow's not promised. Jada Pinkett Smith.
Wow. That's where the quote comes from?
This particular quote was from Jada Pinkett Smith, yeah.
What's that, Ty?
Well, it's just interesting that they chose Jada Pinkett Smith as the quote to pull from. I don't know. I was not expecting that.
Well, you got to remember, the NFLPA sends out Friday tips to everybody via a text message that has ever been in the NFL. Now, there's a couple weeks where they sent them out on Wednesday, and I assume that backfired a little bit. But the Friday tips that come through the NFL and from the NFLPA are something I look forward to every single week. Last week, don't count the days. Make the days count.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Muhammad Ali.
Yeah, see? That's a good one.
The week before that?
Though.
What's that?
Tough to do right now. You can't really go outside.
Well, this was definitely during the quarantine. They sent this one, too. Wake up with determination. Go to bed with satisfaction. A little self-awareness, NFLPA. You know.
Who said that one?
What's that?
Wake up with determination. Go to bed with satisfaction.
Will Smith?
I think it was unknown.
Really?
Yeah. Whoever said it, son of a bitch, was humble. Didn't want any credit. They're like, there's no way anybody's going to take this serious. And here we are, years later. Nobody knows who the hell said it.
You're welcome.
That was you?
I mean, I would never.
He's too humble.
Take credit for it.
Oh, you're the anonymous donation guy. Yeah, smart. Very, very smart. Very, very smart. You know, I was an anonymous donation guy for a long time. And then, like, for instance, I used to reset people's bills at Thanksgiving with the IPO.
Yeah, very nice guy.
For years.
Awesome move.
It was a cool move. Like, it was something I very much enjoyed. I get videos of people's reactions whenever they'd walk up to pay their past due bills before the holiday season, and then we'd reset it to zero, and they'd be like, what? Who? They're like, the punter for the Colts just reset your bills or whatever. And they're like, oh, my God, Christmas is going to be so... Like, it was a cool thing. That just, by the way, just me and IPL and the person that was filming it had for a couple years. And then one year, the IPL was like, is there any way we can tell somebody that you're doing this? And I was like, nah, like I kind of like the fact that it's kind of just us. They're like, yeah, but if we tell people that you're doing this, this might inspire others to do the same. So you might actually make a much bigger help if we let other people know what you're doing. And I was like, you know what? Never thought about that. I always thought I'd be a selfish dick if we let out everything that I did. And they're like, well, actually, you could actually be motivating other people to know that they could potentially be doing this for people too.
See, I thought it would inspire other people to not pay their bills knowing that you're just going to pay it.
And that's why you're a scumbag. 18 minutes after the hour. Let's get to a break here. We'll do some YouTube questions during the break. We have Chase Daniel in 11 minutes. You're listening to the Pat McAfee Show and watching the Pat McAfee Show. I have no clue why. Get in the YouTube comments. Let's get some YouTube questions. And we're almost at 10,000 concurrent viewers, and I believe if we do that, CFO Phil's going to do something special.
Let's go.
You're listening to the Pat McAfee Show, Friday, April 10th. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. Every once in a while, you just kind of got to put a mask on and dive deep into the annals of the internet, the most beautiful place on earth, the YouTube comment section, for some YouTube questions.
YouTube question.
We just lost 25 concurrent viewers. I just watched it happen. We're at 9,803. We're down to 9,781. We went to a break at a wrong time. We almost got to 10K. Zito, what do you got, pal?
Here we go. Which three American sports stars could transition to AFL?
Okay, that's a very good question. The AFL is this new sport that I've fallen in love with. I had a one-night stand with called Aussie Rules Football, the Australian Football League. I have gotten a chance to meet Coxzilla now at this point and become a friend with him. He's on the Collingwood squad, the Magpies. He is a 6'10" former Okie State basketball player who didn't pan out in basketball, though he guarded and locked up Joel Embiid in college. He ended up going to LA for a combine. Now he's playing into his second contract as an Aussie Rules Football stud of a man. Loving his life down there. Single guy, running around that continent, playing the Aussie Rules Football, probably enjoying the hell out of his life. When I learned about Aussie Rules football. I learned that I love it, and it's not rugby because it's wide open. You got to be fast. You have to be physical. There's massive hits. There's massive kicks. There's massive catches. There's all of those things. Odell Beckham Jr. would be an absolute assassin on the Aussie Rules football. He can kick well. We've already seen him kick. I actually recorded him kicking like a 45 or a 50-yard field goal at the Pro Bowl. People used my video. They gave me no credit. It's all good. But I watched that man up, and I played catch with Odell Beckham at the Pro Bowl before the game, and I've never lost playing catch with somebody. I lost playing catch with Odell. I would throw him the ball, and he would do all that insane shit that he would do. He would be phenomenal at Aussie Rules football. Who else would be a good Aussie Rules football player? Let me guess. Christian McCaffrey would be incredible at Aussie Rules football because there's a lot of running, there's a lot of catching, and if you're just an absolute diesel of a man, I think that would bode well. I'm not sure how he kicks, but I know he catches and runs very well. I assume with the athletic pedigree in his family. His dad, obviously a superstar. His mom is an even better athlete, I think, than his dad. His grandpa was a gold medalist in something. His aunt was a professional basketball. His uncle, his entire family's the pedigree of athleticism in the McCaffrey family. Next level. I think he would crush it in Aussie Rules football. And my last person, Johnny Hecker. Johnny Hecker is 6'6", maybe 6'7". The NFL just named him punter of the decade. I have a lot of love for Johnny Hecker. I mean, I played an entirely another position that he didn't play, and I gave up 0 return yards in both kickoffs and punts for like 10, 11 weeks one season. I kicked an onside kick to myself. Whatever. I'm Pro Football Focus punter of the decade. Johnny Hecker's the NFL's punter of the decade. I love Johnny Hecker. I think he would be a stud in Aussie Rules football. Obviously has a hammer of a leg. He's very athletic. He's very tall. So I got OBJ, Johnny Hecker, and McCaffrey. I think they would be legends in the AFL, and I would love to watch it, to be honest, and I cannot wait for the AFL to get back on. If you're watching this for the first time, this show, and you haven't heard me talk about my love for the AFL, when that shit comes on TV, just watch the show. These dudes kill each other, and there is a lot of athleticism. That has been another incredible segment of YouTube Question.
YouTube Questions.
Welcome to the show. You already know. Where do we go? Welcome to the show. Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show. Let's go to Derek Donner in Indiana. What's up, Derek?
Hey, Pat. How's it going?
Not too shabby, Derek. What do you got going on this Feel Good Good Friday? Diggs has just come into the office to take a seat for a little bit. Hey, Diggs, good to see you.
Hey, first I want to say, as a diehard Packers fan, I appreciate you going to the mat for the GOAT AA around anytime somebody tries to talk smack about him.
No problem. I'll smack him in the mouth.
And I wanted to know if you guys ever thought about doing like a Madden 20 tournament on Twitch, like for your Office Olympics.
Funny you say that. We used to invite players to come in and play against Boston Connor, and then we lost like 20 grand because Connor said he was a lot better than he actually was. So, Connor, is there any defense to that?
Well, the defense is I was the Redskins and he was the Chiefs. So, I mean, if we're running...
I did not know that.
Yeah. I mean, I was slinging the rock with Alex Smith to nobody, and the guy had Tyreek Hill and Mahomes.
But you did lose pretty mightily.
Yeah, I threw like 3 picks in the red zone. I mean, just a piss poor effort.
I'm terrible at Madden. I mean, I understand the fact that people do love the video games. I am not one of them. There's a lot of gamers in here. I think it would be nice to see who sits atop the Madden mountain in our office, because Madden is obviously a legendary and historic game. I'm not 100% sure who would win, by the way. Connor says he would, but I've seen him play in live action and with some big money on the line, and he got absolutely cooked. I did not recall that he was the Redskins, though, against the Chiefs. Oh, yeah. You're basically asking to lose. Did you pick the teams?
No, we did randoms.
Oh, God.
Yeah, hosed.
You did get hosed. I would assume Jason McAfee's very good at Madden. I'm not 100% sure.
Me too.
Jay, are you good at Madden?
I haven't played Madden in about 10 years.
Why is the microphone down there?
He likes it. I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just there.
Yeah, but
Hey, JK!
Jay!
Happy birthday!
Maybe that's why you don't talk, is because your microphone is literally down by your...
It's to contort his spine to get down there and say a word.
I get down in my scrotum room. Let's go to Mark over there in Sacramento. Is Sacramento Kings still a basketball team?
Hey, how's it going, Pat? How you doing?
Not shabby.
Well, I just wanted to call you and tell you, over the last year and a half, you have helped me so much get through. I've lost almost all of my family. I lost my dad in 2018, my grandmother last year in August, and my sister committed suicide last week due to a lot of this stuff. And you've helped me out with your just awesome comedy and all the guys and everything. I just want to tell you that you're the best man on the radio right now. And I hope to continue to be a friend of the show, and you guys keep going forever.
Mark, first of all, let me tell you this. I hate that you've had to go through all of this, obviously. In this world, there's obviously going to be times wherever we ask a lot of questions about why the hell is something happening. For instance, what's happened with your family is absolutely devastating. I hate that you've gone through that. The quarantine, things like that. I absolutely hate that bad things happen, but I do believe on the other side of it, you become a better, more knowledgeable, more educated, more experienced person. And the fact that, Mark, that you allow us to not only help you through this type of stuff, but hopefully be a friend in this entire thing, we feel honored, we feel lucky, and we want to let you know that there is much brighter days ahead, and we can't thank you enough, my brother.
Hey, thank you so much, Pat. I sent you an Instagram message. If you find it, it'll be Mark Miller. Just take care, guys, and love y'all.
Mark, we appreciate you. Love you too, man. I don't read my Instagram messages.
I will say Mark actually sponsored a mile yesterday.
I'm a big fan of Mark. Like Mark.
Good guy.
Mark's been through some stuff there, though. Hey, Mark, let's go. We're going to get through this thing together. We'll say dumb things into a microphone. You do what you got to do to keep it moving, and then we'll all become better humans on the other side of it. Speaking of, we have to get to a break because Chase Daniel's on the other side. We will continue on the YouTube, chatting with the YouTube questions and comments. We'll take some phone calls during the break, and then whenever we get back on the other side for radio, Chas Daniel will be joining us. Chas Daniel from the University of Missouri. Chas Daniel. 28 minutes after the hour. You're listening to the Pat McAfee Show. Thank you, Don. Welcome back. YouTube. I love that the entire YouTube comment section is giving T's and P's for our guy, Mark. Mark, you're the absolute best, pal. We appreciate you. That's one of those things, by the way, that puts life in perspective rather quickly, you know? Like, hey, this is what I got going on. Mm-hmm. And then you look at your life and you're like, okay, all right. There's people that are going through worse, will be through worse. I will survive. I will survive. Hey, hey. We're probably going to get a strike because of how close that sounds.
Yeah.
Diggs, welcome back to the room, pal. You're not going to be able to stand back up, I don't think.
No, I'm in a bad spot.
You look good, though. Let's go to Luke over there in Salt Lake City, Utah. Is this guy called us yesterday from Salt Lake City?
Might be.
Mormon. Luke, what's up?
Oh, hey, Pat. Sorry, I can hear music in the back.
Luke, did you call us yesterday?
That.
Luke, did you call us yesterday?
No, I didn't call you yesterday, but I'll just get to it. So.
No. Luke, I have questions. You're in Salt Lake City. Are you a Mormon?
No, I'm definitely not a Mormon.
Wow.
Well, you don't have to bury the Mormon. Jeez.
Well, I mean, when you're told that whatever you think is completely wrong, and then they tell you what they think, but they don't want to listen to what you think, then, you know, the hate kind of rises. So,
respect. All right.
Yeah.
All right. I get it. All right. What do you got?
Mormon.
Yeah. So, are you going to release the Simply Safe footage of Boston Connor stealing snacks for the pub from Small Business TMI, or does he share a lawyer with Dump 'em at Bobby Kraft? I mean, we'll never get that footage.
For those that are new to the show, about 6 months ago, we started bringing snacks into the office. We have an entire part of the office dedicated to snacks. Nick's job is to refill them, because I like whenever people get in here, I feel like, a happy employee is a better employee. So we obviously have a lot of recliners. We have all the water you could potentially want. We have snacks. We have food brought in. Coco brought in an entire breakfast spread. We feel as if we're a real family. And whenever you get snacks in the office in abundance, we started realizing whenever you start going through the numbers that we had to re-up the amount of snacks like every week, and we were getting snacks like for the entire month. So then I started thinking, like, there's no way anybody is eating this. So what I realized quickly is, people were taking these snacks, stealing from the business, putting them in their bag, and taking them back to their shithole house, which is the pub. And all arrows pointed towards Boston Connor being the guy. But we don't 100% have footage of Connor stealing that. We do have footage of him stealing my cone from yesterday.
Cheese moving silence like lasagna, boys. You know how it is.
You're not a G. You're not a G. You're a stooge.
Stooges move in silence like lasagna, boys.
We don't know. We don't know who stole the snacks. But there was about 2 months worth of snacks that were just getting pocketed by people, and I think I'm looking in the eyes of some of the people that were doing it. We had to make an official announcement, like, hey, motherfuckers, this isn't Kroger, this isn't Meijer, okay? These are for when you're in the office to kind of chew on. And then it got to the point where I seen some guys put on 10, 15 pounds. They were just eating these fucking things throughout the entire day.
Lay off me, I'm hungry.
You try to do the absolute best that you can for some folks, but some people just can't get out of the way. I will say that I think Connor was falsely accused for the snack stealing, because it did come out recently where I watched somebody take a couple snacks. They saw me see them take a couple snacks, and then they attempted to eat 3 bags of Doritos.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh,
no. They know that I know. And it's quite a scene. But they shouldn't worry about me, by the way. They should worry about CFO Phil, who's about to drive in from Pittsburgh and be like, y'all motherfuckers are blowing through thousands and thousands of dollars of the company's money with these goddamn snacks that you guys are Krogering.
Who's eating 3 bags of Doritos?
I'm not going to sell them out, but they saw me see them, and they tried to eat them. It was going right to the bag. That thing was going straight from there, straight to their because they were leaving. And I walked out of my office, and I saw it. And I was like, oh, this is interesting. And then they walked away and they opened them and started eating. I was like, oh. But they know that I know. I fucking know.
I think I know who it is.
All right, we're going to get to a break. Chase Daniel is in like 15 seconds. Stop fucking the company. Sally McAfee's pumped. I just got 14 texts. 33 minutes after the hour. We're being joined now by a man that was a backup quarterback for the New Orleans Saints behind Drew Brees, and also a starting holder for the New Orleans Saints. And he went to the Chicago Bears to be, mentor for Mitchell Trubisky. He got in some action last year. Now he's been signed to the Detroit Lions. We thought the last time we interviewed him, he was in the middle of a media run. I thought he was going to potentially come over and take over the sports media world. Instead, he is signed with the Detroit Lions. Ladies and gentlemen, legend Chase Daniels. Attaboy Chase.
How's it going, man?
Is that your bed?
Yeah, it's a guest room. I'm doing some of these media interviews, so I have a much better setup than I did last time. Have a professional microphone, as you can see.
Wow!
Yeah, I'm trying to get on your level, So I'm doing a bunch of these like chase chats, interviews with a bunch of guys, and not at the broadcast realm yet, but eventually maybe something like that.
Backup quarterbacks are incredible in the sports media world because you learn a lot of different offenses. You have to break down a lot of different defenses, and you get a chance to kind of see how different quarterbacks operate in situations. That's why backup quarterbacks always do incredible in the sports media world. Excited for you. Let's dive into this Chase Chat. Hashtag Chase Chat. Chase, why the Detroit Lions? What was the message to you whenever you signed there by Matt Patricia? What's the goal going forward, you think?
Yeah, listen, I'm excited to get started. It's an awkward and weird time, obviously, in the world, but it's even more weird for free agents because I signed my contract, but I have yet to step in the facility. I've yet to go to Detroit. Um, I've yet to even take my physical. So it's an interesting time. I was excited about Detroit because I saw sort of what they could be, and I've seen offensively and defensively what they're made of. And I loved it, and they came after me hard from the get-go. And it always is good, going into the 12th year of the league, it's always good to be wanted. And I felt like for the most part, like they were on me from the get-go. And Matty P's a great dude. Bob Quinn, I mean, they got a great nucleus of guys, and I think they're trying to make that next step. And it's a tough division, it really is, but I'm excited to be there.
Well, the Saints background of yours is such a winning culture, right? And getting a chance to watch Drew Brees, I think that's why the Bears brought you in. It's like, hey, if you could maybe guide and lend a hand here to Mitchell Trubisky, just some things that you see and notice, and let's move forward. I would assume Matty P is feeling the same exact way. It's like, hey, Matthew Stafford has been incredibly efficient in the NFL. One of the most efficient guys in the history of the NFL who hasn't got a chance to really win a lot of games. He had a broken freaking back last year. What do you think your tandem will be like with Matty Stafford? Because when I watched Jim Sorgi, who was back up for Peyton Manning, or Curtis Painter, who was back up they did homework for Peyton Manning. It was a lot of like, hey, break down this, tell me what they do in this particular point. How do you feel your relationship with Stafford will go, and how did you and Drew Brees operate?
Well, so for me and Matthew, we go way back. We're from the same area of Dallas, grew up around the same area, actually played each other in baseball, not football, because they were a different division than us. So my familiarity with him is very good. And I think we've known each other for a long time, so we work well together. And that's sort of what I was looking for in this next team, as in Detroit, is sort of like a peer-to-peer type relationship rather than the mentor to the rookie type guy.
Got it.
And so that's what I'm most looking forward to. He's been in the league, just as long as I have. First round pick. I mean, you saw him slinging the rock last year when he played, and he was like, I mean, that offense was rolling, and obviously the back injury, and they had to play a couple backups. And I think that's sort of what they told me was, hey, if Matt were to go down, we want somebody with veteran status to come in and step in and sort of run the show. And that's sort of what attracted me to them, is not only that, but also Darrell Bevel. So Darrell worked with Russell Wilson in Seattle for a long time, was with Brad Childress, who sort of have helped Andy Reid and Matt Nagy sort of install their systems. And he was even with Doug Peterson a little bit. So the familiarity of the offense is point on. I mean, I'm already 70% familiar with it. So that's a good thing.
Before you get to your relationship with Drew Brees, because I know every quarterback and backup have a different relationship, Matty P told you whenever you're coming in there, hey, if Matt goes down, we still need to have a guy, obviously. So that would allude to the fact that they're probably not taking Tua then, right? I mean, that would not, now granted, you would not be privy to that information. They would never tell a player if they were going to do that. But if that was their mindset going in, to have two great quarterbacks on your team is always smarter. I mean, it's just they realized that with the Blau last year. I mean, Blau was good. Drew Blau gave him a good shot. But if you have a veteran in there that can really make a decision for you, now you got two sets of eyes also in the offensive meeting rooms and the quarterback rooms. I'm excited about this move for you to get up there and hopefully help out Matt in that offense.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. And like I said, that's sort of what I was looking for. And the offense is amazing. I mean, you saw the play action, like bombs that Matthew was throwing specifically in the Green Bay game. If you go back and actually watch that game before he got hurt, I mean, they put up like 17 points in the first quarter at Green Bay. And just sort of a taste of what the offense can do. It was Matt's first year in the offense. So we're definitely looking forward to getting started whenever that may be.
What was your relationship like with Drew Brees? A lot of years down there. What does he have his backup quarterbacks do? What is it like day to day? Do you get a lot of reps in practice? Because Teddy Bridgewater was with the Saints for a while. He was the highest paid backup for a long time. Now he's becoming a starter. Does Drew Brees, do you get reps down there, or does Drew eat them all and you're kind of like the an intel guy for him?
Yeah, so Drew and I have a really great relationship. I obviously started my career in New Orleans from 2009 to 2012 and then came back in 2017. And so 2009 to 12, it was awesome because back in 2009, Mark Brunell was also there. So I was the three. So I got to learn from Mark Brunell and Drew Brees and just sort of what it was to be a quarterback. I thought that I studied a lot of film. It wasn't the case back then. So Drew sort of like molded me and helped me become a quarterback that I sort of want to be off the field and on the field as well. But I was able to take that to, the different teams that I've been in, whether Kansas City, Philadelphia, Chicago, and sort of keep that sort of routine going. And I think that was what's so great. And back then I didn't get any reps. In 17, I took all of Wednesday practice reps, the long day, as you know, and because he was more on a resting schedule. So he'd practice Thursday, Friday, and pretty full day Saturday actually too, for him throwing. So that was sort of what was in his recovery routine oriented. So it was actually good for me in 17 to get those starter reps with the starters on a full padded practice day. And I think that just helped me with, my career as a backup.
Last year, obviously in Chicago, you got put in some awkward situations. You handled them well because you're a veteran, but I mean, it was a very awkward time to be a Chicago Bear. It seemed as if Mitchell Trubisky forgot how to play football. Do you think that whatever happened last year with Mitchell and Nagy and that offense, do you think they have it? Now, granted, you're in the same division right now, but do you think they have a chance? And I would assume your personal relationship with Mitchell is a good one. Do you think he has a chance to bounce back and that offense to bounce back, or does that seem like something that's almost unfixable?
No, I don't think it's unfixable. I think he has all the tools in the world. And I think last year, it was a down year for all of us there in Chicago. We didn't win enough games. We didn't do what we wanted to. But the offense is there. First and foremost, I think they're going to be able to fix the run game. I think that is a quarterback's best friend. If you get that, you don't put everything on Mitch's shoulders. And I think just from a competition standpoint, bringing in Nick Foles and having him and Mitch truly be an open competition, I think it's going to bring the best out in both of them.
You like that. You like that move. You like that move.
Yeah. I think, as you can tell, whoever is the backup, you can never have too many good quarterbacks with experience on your team. Okay. So for what they paid for Nick, it's a no-brainer.
Well, it's like $20 million or something like that, didn't they?
Yeah, but it's $8 million a year, so that's less.
Oh, that's
than
a backup
starter.
contract. Yeah.
So, I mean, you're really hedging your bets there, right? So you have Mitch on a rookie contract. You have Nick making like $8 million a year. I mean, your total to the quarterback room is maybe $18 million, $19 million, and what's Russell Wilson making this year? 32. So you're still way under market value.
There's a big Chicago Bears fan. And also a massive Lions fan who's very pumped that you're up there, by the way.
Yes, sir.
Whenever old Drew Brees got on the game, he almost had a heart attack. But have you seen this interaction between David Carr and Jameis Winston?
I have, actually. I'm glad you brought that up. I actually saw it last night right before bed.
Is that a drill? Now, listen. You won't say anything bad about quarterbacks because you guys are a fraternity. I will. I hate David Carr. Okay, I just don't like the guy. He blocked me on Twitter, so to hell with him. All right.
Who would block you on Twitter? Nobody. Come on.
All right, Chase. I took a pretty big swipe at him. I understand. He took a shot at punters, so I had to defend. I had to. You know what I mean? And he blocked me, so I didn't even see how him and Jameis's interaction went. But from the bear crawls that Jameis has put out into these drills, it almost feels like Jameis wants people to know that he's still working. What do you think about, first of all, have you ever done that drill? And second of all, Jameis Winston, guy threw for 5,100 yards last year, which is so impressive, 30 interceptions, and now he's in this weird free agency time where some other people got signed. Tom Brady was on the market. It just seems like I have no idea what's going to happen with Jameis, and it's only getting worse by the day. It feels that drill. That drill is tough. That drill. Have you ever done that drill, Chase?
Not exactly that drill. I do see what he's trying to get at with moving in the pocket, and I sort of love how he trolled him back with posting a clip with him actually ducking ahead and still drawing the flag and getting hit in the head. So that I thought that was hilarious and really good on Twitter. For me, like, I know Jameis, and Jameis is a great guy. He truly is, and I think he is just trying to prove that, whatever, social medium it may be, that he can play. And I think if you take away 15 throws, 15 interceptions from the 30 or whatever he had, you're looking at a 33-15 guy, 5,000 yards, and you're like, wow. I don't know if Brady is in Tampa then. Yeah. And so he's so close. Like, I don't think his career as a starter is done by any means. I mean, the guy has some talent. It's just a couple decisions here and there. And listen, I get it. And I don't necessarily know if I would personally be, if I was ever a, analyst one day, I don't know if I'd necessarily be poking fun or taking a shot at somebody for trying to get better, whatever drill it may be. I mean, it's social media. You see some of the dumbest things on social media. This is not one of them, in my opinion.
By the way, especially for a guy that's probably better than you at quarterback. That just seems to be an interesting thing. Jameis and Cam Newton are potentially going to be backup quarterbacks. And I think Jameis maybe has realized that has happened, right? Because no team is going to give you a franchise offer whenever you throw 30 interceptions, because that is such an important part of leading a franchise, is not giving the ball to the other team. 15 throws or not, that's one throw a game that could potentially cost your entire team. They're not going to bank on him. And at this point, he's going to be a backup quarterback. Cam Newton, I thought he was going to go to the Chargers. I honestly, and I was completely wrong, I guess, in this, because Dan Orlovsky has an inside scoop that says they're not going to take him or whatever. Is it possible for guys to transition to being backup quarterbacks and then get back into being a starter? Or how hard is that, both mentally and also whenever you walk into a room, you can't be a distraction because you're not a guy that's playing? How difficult is that truly going to be, you think?
Yeah, well, I can't speak on Jameis or Cam, personally, because they have been starters their entire career. Me, not so much. I've been a backup my entire career. But I can only imagine that when you're the guy day in and day out, you're the face of the franchise, you're the leader, you're the guy who's taken every single rep in practice, to go to a backup job, if that's what either one of them are going to be, because there's only so many open quarterback jobs every year, and they get filled up pretty quickly, whether it be trade or free agency. So if you don't hop on the bandwagon, you might get left out. And there's a lot of guys sort of getting left out, so to speak, this year. It would be very difficult, I'm sure, because that's all they know. Now, it'll come into what type of teammate they are, right? How do they fit in as not overstepping their boundaries with the starter? I've been in situations where I want to say some things, but I'm like, hey, I'm the backup. Like, no, I can't do it. So I think it would be a new skill that they would have to learn, because it's a fine line. You don't want to divide a locker room. That's the absolute last thing you want to do. And I'm sure GMs and head coaches of other teams that are looking to get into that are probably thinking, wow, is Cam or Jameis going to divide a locker room? Me personally, no, I don't think so. I think they're going to be great and happy with whatever they do, but that's to be seen.
The backup quarterback being a distraction has been a conversation in the NFL for a while. Tim Tebow had it. Johnny Manziel had it. Colin Kaepernick had it. Now Jameis and Cam Newton are going to be in that conversation. It'll be interesting to see how that entire thing pans out. Do you do the social media frequently?
Lately, because there's nothing else to do.
What do you think about Tua?
I actually saw Chris Mortensen's thread of his 7 clips that he had 2 or 3 minutes long, and man, it looked good, but I'm a big believer on the intangibles, right? And I think Tua has those. I don't care how he looks throwing a ball in shorts on a weirdly shaped, oddly shaped field.
That was weird. They had him going sideways. He couldn't drop back at all. There's a wall literally behind him.
And you sort of just have to take what's given during this time. So I get it. And I think Trent did a really good job scripting NFL type throws. I really did. But for me, it comes back to what did Tua do on tape? And he was unbelievable on tape against some of the best competition in the world. So I'm not a doctor, so I don't know how his hip's doing. I don't know how other injuries are doing. But to me, it looked really good. I actually watched about 15 minutes of it, just drinking coffee before the show, just scrolling Twitter, and I thought it looked pretty good.
You put cream in your coffee?
No, bulletproof.
Hey, that's Detroit, by the way. That is Detroit. I mean, that is. We have one kid here. He's a millennial, obviously. His name's Evan Fox. He's from Detroit. He's handsome. He has an entire spring collection that he put together. He drinks his coffee black, and he drinks 7 to 8 cups a day.
Yeah, I'm on my 3rd cup right now, and it's only 8:49.
Where are you right now? Where do you live at full time?
California, San Diego area.
Do you know Jordan Palmer's out there? He has a QB summit. I feel like in the quarterback world, you guys are all kind of connected. He's working out with Joe Burrow, Love. I believe Stidham's out there. Darnold's out there. The entire crew's out there. Who do you work out with in the offseason, or do you kind of just bounce around?
I usually do off season here in San Diego. This is sort of where we made our home, and we love it. It's been amazing. And I have a guy who's actually going to be on my Chase Chat series today.
Plug. What time? What time?
Shameless plug. 2:30 Pacific. 2:30 p.m. Pacific.
Oh, the internet's dead. 5:30 Friday. The internet. No quarantine
and
time.
It's Good Friday. It's quite all right. It's quite all right. It's just going to be out there anyway. He's my trainer out here. He's worked with Drew, Darren Sproles, so forth and so on, and it's very quarterback specific stuff. So I mostly work out with him in the off season.
Do you do? I know a lot of quarterbacks who have very weird workout routines. Right? I don't want to say bad bodies, but quarterbacks notoriously have bad bodies. I feel like they feel as if they have to flow a little bit more and things like that. Do you do the Pilates, weightlifting? What does Chase do? 12 years in the NFL. 12 years in the NFL is no joke.
Yeah. I mean, right now during the off season, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, it's weights and cardio, and like lower, upper, and then full body. I'm more of old school guy. I like to get under some weights and squat, bench, lift, stuff like that.
Oh
But
yeah.
I also understand.
Listen to Detroit over here.
As my career gets going and I get older, that the yoga and Pilates is necessary. So on a normal off season, which this is not a normal off season because of COVID-19, on Tuesdays, Thursdays, I would do maybe some yoga or some biking or something like that just to stay fit. And then we'd work throwing in as we get closer.
I want to ask you about Tom Brady. And if you're talking and I put my hand up, that means I have to send it to a hard out for radio, but we're still live on this.
Okay.
Tom Brady. It has been reported, Tom Brady told Howard Stern that a lot of teams were interested, and out of respect for their privacy, he does not want to say that, but it has come out that the Colts picked Phillip Rivers over Tom Brady. It's obvious that the Titans picked Tannehill over Tom Brady. There's a lot of reports that the 49ers stuck with Jimmy G instead of potentially making a play for Tom Brady. When you're at that age, and you're the GOAT for a reason, why do you pick Tampa out of all the places? Is it because of the weapons? Is it because of Bruce Arians? If you could dive into Tom Brady's mind a little bit, why was Tampa ultimately the spot for him?
Well, I think for him, ultimately, from what I've heard, it was mostly, the Chargers or the Bucks. And I think family played into it a little bit because his kid's back on the East Coast and in Tampa. But at the end of the day, if I'm a quarterback like Tom, I'm looking at what team gives me the best weapons, and those receivers down in Tampa are on another level. So I think that definitely played into it. I think the Bruce Arians type scheme where you're super laid back, like just go do your job. He's talking about drinking beers, chugging this, chugging that. It's so funny to me, and I think that'd be a welcome change probably from how Bill was.
He's going from polar opposites here, by the way. The Patriot way to the Bruce Arians way. Is two very different. I'm not 100% sure if Bill Belichick is talking trash to the offense during practice. I cannot wait for Tom Brady in practice to hear Bruce Arians chirping at the DBs whenever he Bruce Arians is electric to be around.
Yeah, and I've heard things, and I've heard good things, and so I'm looking forward to seeing it. It's going to be super weird. I know Tampa just did something with their uniforms, and I think the season tickets are out the roof. Everything's going off. It's just. It's going to be an interesting and weird time to see Tom Brady, right, wearing Tampa Bay Buccaneers uniform. It's weird.
If the Lions don't, I think they're going to win the Super Bowl. Ladies and gentlemen, 12-year NFL quarterback now with the Detroit Lions, friend of the show, Chase Chat this afternoon, 5:30. Ladies and gentlemen, Chase Daniel. Thank you, Chase. Great bed over there, man. Great bed. Get some use out of that thing. Cheers, dude.
Thanks.
He's a good guy.
Yeah.
Coffee black, stands under a squat rack. Get me to Detroit stat.
Fired up.
On the YouTube, we can't thank you enough for watching all week. If you listen on the radio, you're the absolute best. We'll be back on Monday at 1 o'clock, youtube.com/The Pat McAfee Show, McAfee and Hawk Sports Talk. We had an exclusive with Clay Matthews yesterday. Diggs will be walking it out here for another hour. I mean, it's a wild time to be alive, and we can't thank you enough for spending a little bit of time each day with us. Thank you for letting us penetrate your ears. We're all going to get through this damn thing together. This has been the Pat McAfee Show, Friday, April 10th, from Indianapolis,
Indiana!
Cheers. Don, you there?